Freida Pinto, where have you just come from?
My boxing class. Yep. Just
Okay,
been just been cross hook, cross jab, cross hook. I guess that's what I've been doing. My arms are killing me, but it's good.
that's very exciting. Something else that you've been doing lately is television, which is not something that you've done before other than, when you've been playing yourself. Is that something that you want to continue doing after Guerrilla?
Oh, absolutely. If my contract allows me to do more shows at the moment, I'm more than happy to do it just because I kind of feel like as a medium, it has changed so much and there is so much more now on television that is explored in terms of content, in terms of characters, in terms of character arc that we haven't really seen in film lately. So, yeah, I guess television is definitely your medium to be part of. Yeah.
Yeah, earlier this year, your Slumdog Millionaire co-star Dev Patel, he talked a lot about how, it took a long time for him to kind of get back into the awards conversation. Whereas you would think that after coming off of that huge film at the Oscars, and then you guys were both nominated for BAFTAs, that you would have had a bit more in terms of media roles. Was that the same experience for you, or are you finding?
Yeah, I think we both had similar experiences, but there is no formula. There is no formula just because your film has been part of an Oscar race or because you have won an Oscar that you're going to have the career trajectory of a super successful actor who's doing three films a year and continues to getting nominated for more awards. It's not there's no formula. The film industry is and the TV industry, they're both certainly more the film industry. It's a little fickle. You never know when you're going to land the next project. You never know when you're going to have your next phase of being unemployed. But I think one of the things that you learn through whatever the process is, whether it's when the going is it gets tough or when everything is going really well, one of the things you learn is to just keep your passion and your the things that you love doing, your integrity on a high at all times. Because this is a very peaks and valley kind of industry in general. And let's be honest, it's particularly harder when you're an ethnic minority in this industry, and people are seeing, with Slumdog for sure, they started seeing this the actors coming from India for the first time, and the wave that came with roles were not necessarily even written or even thought of for actors of Asian descent to be leading movies in. So it takes a while, it takes a while. It takes perseverance and determination to keep doing this over and over again, and a lot of courage to face the rejection.
Now, the role that you play in Guerrilla is actually based on a real life person. You don't share the same name, but there's definitely an inspiration. So she actually died a few years ago, but were you able to meet anybody who was associated with her in preparing for this role?
Um, so, so one of the things is that none of the characters are based off of real life people. They're all based off the experiences of a lot of people. So the woman that you're talking about is Mala Sen,
Yeah.
and her partner Farooq Dondi, who wrote this book called London Company, which is a book that I highly recommend people to read to really understand what the British Black Panther movement was, all about, what the cell, the underground cell that they had formed, or rather not even underground cell, just the cell that they had formed, what it stood for and how it fought at the big fight. So I would, encourage people to read that book. But Mala and Farouk, similarly, the late Darkest Howe and Neil Kenlock, their experiences is what John Ridley weaved into the various characters in Gorilla. So I spent a lot of time with Farouk, who wrote the book, and really tried to understand from his perspective what he thought the British Black Panther movement was all about. And so, yeah, I think that kind of research is so useful and beneficial when you're playing, when you're creating even a fictional character.
Yeah, and when you Google, say, Frida Pinto, you get like actress and activist. Is this a series that has impacted your worldview? Are you doing anything differently because of what you've learned from the Black Panther movement?
Um, so the activism has been part of my life for a very, very long time. The acting has also been part of my life for a very long time, though professionally, I would say only for 9 years. I think I knew that acting was, or performing arts was in my blood from the age of 5. But the activism got stronger as my voice started getting more and more recognized. That's for sure. I always did a little bit with my family, even when I was like 15, 16 years old. My dad and my mom really encouraged me to be involved in social work. But after Slumdog, I realized, oh my God, it's this fame that comes along with a popular film like Slumdog gives me the added advantage of using my voice for things that I really believe in, not just going to studio heads and saying, yes, no, we'll work on it, we'll not work on it. But it also gives me this added advantage to talk about things that really matter to me and that matter to the human race, that affect the human race. So really, I think they both go hand in hand. But as I play characters like Jazz, they strengthen my belief in why I fight this fight. They make me want to do it more. I learn a lot from these characters as well. Like one of the things I always say I learned from Jazz is she had kind of had this calming effect on me. If you watch the show, she's not so calm as such in the show. She's volatile, she is active, she is very impulsive at times. And in playing a character like that, I understand that when someone's under pressure, their reactions can go in any direction, right? But one of the things that I learned from playing Jazz is to keep the calm as much as I can and not react with anger, but to react with passion. So yeah, I think it's playing these characters teach me so much. Yeah, for sure.
And did you take any of that from your director, John Ridley, who also wrote the show? Like, what distinguishes him, you would say, as a director?
From other directors or just from like what makes
Yeah.
him I'll tell you what makes him special. I don't like comparing simply because every
Okay.
director has taught me something and every director comes with their own little quirk and their own little something that's very super unique to them. With John Ridley, what I have learned and that I will continue imbibing in every work or material that I pick up from now on, whether it's the stuff that I'm producing or the stuff that I'm acting in, is he's very meticulous. There is nothing that he leaves up to chance in terms of in the prep phase. Once, of course, we're all prepped and ready, then you go with whatever happens and you make the most of it. But up until the time where the prep is required, he's so meticulous, he's so thorough that it just makes you work that many times harder. You don't want to disappoint, don't want to let someone like him down. And there was never a time where we asked John a question and he said, I don't know the answer, let me think about it. He would always take a second or two to just assimilate what we asked him and then would come up with this really thoughtful question. If you ever get a chance to interview John Ridley, and I don't know if you already have, you will never get, can I say half-assed? You'd never get like a half-assed answer. You'd always get something that has been very much thought about, a lot of thought, a lot of, um, um, yeah, his own sense of mediation that has gone into it to really think about what he's saying. And that is something that is very unique to John. I don't think I have seen that in a lot of people. Yeah.
I've seen John Ridley's responses to kind of this question that came up before the show came up by people who hadn't seen it about how your character is leading a show that's kind of about Black rights, but you're actually not Black
Mm.
yourself. So I was wondering, like, how do you feel about
Not
all
black
that?
enough.
Black enough. Okay, sure.
My reaction to that was I was a little surprised at first because to me it came from those questions for me came from a place of not really are people not really indulging themselves in their own research and education, really, in a way. The British Black Panther movement was a movement that included people from the colonies of the Caribbean countries, the African countries, from the Asian countries, India being one of them, basically the British colonies. And the fight was a fight for all these people coming together and fighting for their basic right to be considered, to be not considered, but to be allowed to be called British, to be British. And the term political blackness was very popular at this time, which was really not about the color of the skin, but was more about the color of oppression, being black. So I never even thought of it when I was filming for the 3 months that I was filming and the 1 month that I was prepping with all my co-stars. We never really thought about it once. that this would be the kind of criticism that would come up in England when the show came out. But that really surprised me. But at the same time, it made me go, well, then all the more reason for this show to be made. All the more reason for people who are offended that I am not black enough, or that I am that a black actress, or black, and when I mean black, I mean the color of the skin, is not leading the show. All the more reason for them to go out and do what they want, make that show where an actress of is leading the show, the actress that they want is leading the show. No one is stopping them from going out there and being creative. But every time you make a show for the first time, or you do put out any material, a film or an article or story for the first time, it is going to receive its fair share of criticism because people are not used to it. People are not, it's not the norm. With the civil rights movement in America, there have been so many films made on it. And so people are more educated about it. This just calls for more of an education and for more material about this very, very important time in Britain's history to go out there and find itself on screen. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say people who like actually see the show quite enjoy it. And you guys have gotten great reviews and great cast and John Ridley. But at least in the United States, I've not very many people have seen it. And why do you think that is?
I don't know, but I know a lot of people who haven't seen it are, at least my friends who haven't seen it, are the binge watching kind of people. So I think they've been all waiting for all the episodes to come out, and now it's finally out on Showtime where they can just watch all six in one go. It's the kind of way I like watching the show as well. So I had the advantage of having the episodes ahead of time, so I watched all of them in one go. So I'm hoping that now, that the show is completely out on Showtime and they can just go online and watch all six together, they will be encouraged to go and watch it. And also, I admit it's a slow burn. The series won't just come at you. It's not Transformers. We're not blowing something up every second of the TV show, of the 45 minutes of the TV show, the duration of the TV show. What we're doing is we're building up. And so I think if people did give it a chance, they would be pleasantly surprised. Episode 4 is literally my favorite episode ever. And I'm not going to tell you why, because then for those who haven't watched it, it's spoilers. But episode 4 is literally my favorite episode in the whole show. Yeah.
I feel like when people do die in your show, then it's really surprising because you don't expect it.
Yeah. I think it's like I said, it's material that has been explored for the first time. It's very brave, but at the same time, it can be very controversial. So maybe people have not yet given it its fair chance. But I do believe that the people who have watched it in the industry, who have actually reached out to me and to my team members, have all just been so surprised and kind of felt a little silly that they did not know, for people who have loved history, that how come we don't know about this time in Britain's history? We know so much about the civil rights movement. How come we don't know much about the British Black Panther movement? So I kind of hope that it will help people, encourage people to take a chance and go out there and really watch the show. Yeah.
And what surprised you the most about how the show came out, when you were watching the screeners versus when you were reading about it or filming it?
Oh, there were tons of surprises. I'm so involved in creating jazz, and my time spent with Babu Sise creating that relationship between Marcus and Jazz, and then of course the underground cell relationship with the other characters with Marcus, Dahari, Leroy, and Jazz. Those are the parts that I'm involved in. But the way John Ridley has designed the show is there are other parallel stories happening. And one of my favorite things about the show is that there are no black or white characters. There is no the good versus the bad. There is gray characters and there are human characters, and including the two who play the police, Rory Kinnear and Danny Mays, phenomenal actors who play Pence and Cullen. They again not black or white characters. They're not just bad characters. They have their own human story, their own backstories, and that was a surprising part for me because that was what I was seeing for the first time. The performances were absolutely mind blowing, and Fallon, her character was definitely I was shocked by the time I got to episode 4, 5. I was like, there is no way there is no way this woman is on my side.
And what did you learn from acting opposite Idris Elba, who's also your producer?
Yes, and also I exec producer and my co-star and just one of the most for me I feel like brave, just a brave person to come forward and lend this film his star power, this TV show his star power as well as guide us through it all, by being a producer. And with all the star power, you would think there would come a fair share of um, how do I say it, a chip on his shoulder, but he's not like that at all. Like super humble, very much a team player, collaborative. Yeah, and I just hope that this is not the first or the last time that I get to work with him. I hope this is the first of many.
Now, you got your start on the award circuit immediately with Slumdog Millionaire, and now you're kind of back on it for Guerrilla. What's your view of that whole process?
It's a process. That's exactly what it is. It requires you to really go out there and educate people about the show, to encourage people to go out and watch the film or the show, whichever it is. And I'm so lucky, I have to say, whether it's with Slumdog or now in this case with Gorilla, they both projects that I'm so proud of. And the team that were put together is a team that I love working with, and I love talking about them, and I want to help promote them and the material as much as I'm promoting myself. So for me, this is a joy. I can't imagine doing this for something that I was not fully into, or it's like a bad relationship. You're not really into the relationship, but you're still trying to make it work, and there's only one way that could go. With this one, I feel it's um, a great love affair. I'm loving this and love talking about it. And this is material that really matters to me as well. But like you said, it's a process. It's just something that you have to really enjoy doing and feel passionate about. Yeah, and then the rest of it, you just leave it up to whatever is out there. You can't predict how this goes. But yeah, and also the other thing that I look forward to with this kind of campaign work, if I can call it that, is the other actors that I'm going to meet and the other filmmakers and TV showrunners that I'm going to meet in this process. I've been watching the show Handmaid's Tale, and
Yeah.
every actor on that show is so phenomenal. This for the subject matter is so relevant and so scary. Freaks me out sometimes watching that show, and I can't wait for the next episodes to come out on May 31st. So it's a community, and I love actually doing it with other actors as well. So let's see what happens.
Yeah. And as of last year, you're actually on the other side too, as you joined the Motion Picture Academy.
Yes, I
Right.
did. Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
So how are you doing? Like, how do you do your, I guess, due diligence on that side, like as a voter?
To be involved, it's a great honor. It's a great um, um, well, I say responsibility that I take with so much pride to be part of the academy. So, to watch the films that have been sent, to um, make these informed decisions when the voting comes across, to be able to choose your board of governors, all of that is so important, and that informs in turn informs the kind of material that will get out there. We want to be able, everyone's been talking about diversity, and, I talk about inclusion, more than just like being diverse, like include it. It's unique, it's different, you haven't seen it before, but don't be afraid of it, just include it. And now I get a say, I get to say something, and I have a say in it. So, yeah, for me, I'm super excited about that as well.
And lastly, what do you have coming up next?
I do have an indie film actually that I'm really excited about. I'm hoping that it will be out maybe in September or October this year. It's a film that I shot in India just before I started on Guerrilla, and it's called Love Sonia. The director of the film was a line producer on Slumdog Millionaire. His name is Tabrez Noorani, and it's again based off of true events, true stories of and experiences of various girls who are caught in the sex trafficking racket. And this one actually uses the start point as India, but then really exposes the international racket. So from India goes to Hong Kong, and Hong Kong lands straight into Los Angeles, which just sends it home, especially for me now because I live in Los Angeles. So I'm super excited about it. And again, the lead actor is this young girl named Renal, who I'm so excited about. Just a star performer, really. So just super excited about this project. Little tiny indie film, and hoping that it does well.
Actually, yeah. Why do you work more on the kind of Hollywood side of things versus the Bollywood side in India?
So this film actually is in Hindi. It's in Hindi and English, but it's got a lot more Hindi. And my character, I play this prostitute, almost like this crazed prostitute, which was a fun character to play, and a really wild and violent almost against type. And she speaks Hindi throughout the series. But I feel like my start of my career was with Slumdog, so it was already an international film. And even before Slumdog happened, I remember talking to my sister and telling her that I don't know, I get this feeling and it's my instinct. And yeah, I could be right, I could be wrong, I don't know which way it will go. But my instinct is to do things that people all over the world will watch, to do it on an international scale, even if it's like a little tiny indie film, because I want more people to watch what I do, because I want to be able to tell great stories. So I don't really think it was an intentional, let's do Hollywood or let's do Bollywood. I think the word international, the word global sits better with me than just Hollywood. Yeah.
All right. Thanks very much, Frida. And
Thank
best
you
of
so
luck
much.
at the Emmys with Guerrilla.
Thank you.